Over the past 5 days, the Israel-Iran conflict
exploded into a direct military confrontation with profound global implications. After Israel launched large-scale attacks on Iran, targeting nuclear facilities, senior military leaders in the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and nuclear scientists, will the conflict remain confined between Israel and Iran? Or will it escalate into a regional conflict involving the Middle East as well? Or could it transform into a nuclear war, potentially a third world war? Follow the video to the end to learn about the latest developments and how this war might unfold. Will it end through diplomacy?
Or will it culminate in a nuclear conflict?
More than 2 months ago, negotiations began between Iran and the United States, mediated by countries such as Qatar and the Strait of Oman, regarding Iran's nuclear program. Iran announced that it possesses nuclear facilities, which will become operational in 2026. These facilities, located in and around Isfahan, include the Isfahan Nuclear Technology Center, INTC, the Uranium Conversion Facility in Isfahan, UCF, the Fuel Manufacturing Plant in Isfahan, FMP, the Fuel Element Cladding Plant in Isfahan, the Nuclear Fuel Research and Production Center in Isfahan, NFRPC, and the Nuclear Waste Storage Facility in Isfahan. These negotiations continued for over 2 months, but Iran did not yield to the United States' demand to refrain from possessing nuclear weapons. Consequently, Israel began threatening to strike these nuclear facilities if Iran did not comply with the demands. Statements from U.S. President Donald Trump called for American citizens to leave certain Gulf countries for their safety, and ordered an increase in military and air defenses at U.S. bases in the Middle East, after Iran threatened to launch missile strikes on these bases. Iran announced that it possesses hypersonic missiles with high destructive capabilities. However, in the blink of an eye, on June 12, 2025, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, targeting nuclear and military sites in Iran, including the Natanz reactor and other facilities, and killed prominent figures in the Revolutionary Guard and the nuclear program. Iran swiftly retaliated against Israel by launching over 200 ballistic missiles on Tel Aviv on the first day, followed by more than 1,000 ballistic and hypersonic missiles, as well as drones, targeting Israeli cities, Tel Aviv, Haifa, on the second day, resulting in civilian and military casualties. Israel responded with airstrikes on Tehran, Isfahan, and other cities, causing civilian deaths, particularly among women and children, mirroring its actions in Gaza. This sparked intense Iranian anger, leading to the use of unprecedented hypersonic missiles with high destructive power, capable of aerial maneuvers and evading threats, covering over 1,200 kilometers in just 3 minutes. Israeli air defenses failed to counter these attacks. Iran's leader, referred to as Khamenei, issued a statement saying, "People of Israel, if you want to survive and stay alive, leave Israel immediately, as even your shelters will not protect you." This prompted Israelis to begin fleeing, but the Israeli government passed a law prohibiting citizens from leaving the country. Israel had not anticipated Iran's military strength and began sending mediators to resume negotiations and end the war. However, Iran took a different stance this time, declaring it would not negotiate until the United States admitted its involvement in the attacks. The US denied any role. As strikes intensified between Israel and Iran, Yemen's Houthi group launched a missile attack on Israel in support of Iran, and Hamas issued a statement endorsing the missile strikes and supporting Iran's actions against Israel. US President Donald Trump issued a statement threatening Iran with US intervention in the conflict. In response, Pakistan, North Korea, China, and Russia declared they would not hesitate to join Iran in the war if the US intervened. Russian President Vladimir Putin issued a stark warning to the US, threatening retaliation if it entered the conflict, despite earlier offering to mediate to end the war. Iran's defense minister declared that any US military intervention would bring direct strikes on American bases in the region. There is a risk that the war could expand and become regional, involving Iran's allies, such as Hezbollah in Lebanon or the Houthis in Yemen. The escalation could intensify, drawing other countries into the conflict if Iran attacks US bases, potentially leading to a third world war. If the situation escalates further, it could become a global nuclear war. However, there is also a significant threat from Iran, as it has warned of closing the Strait of Hormuz, which could trigger a major global energy crisis. Approximately 20% of the world's oil, equivalent to 20 million barrels per day, and 1/3 of natural gas exports pass through the strait. Global oil prices have risen due to the threat of closing the Strait of Hormuz. Additionally, there are concerns about cyberattacks targeting Iranian banks, believed to have been carried out by Israel. Israel launched several airstrikes on sensitive areas in Iran, such as gas and oil refineries. In response, Iran bombarded a power station responsible for supplying electricity to several countries. On the fifth day, Israel targeted Iranian news channels while they were broadcasting live, igniting Iranian fury. As a result, dozens of foreign countries, such as China, Pakistan, Russia, Taiwan, began evacuating their citizens out of fear of the strength of Iran's retaliation. The international community, including the United Nations and the European Union, called for all parties to exercise restraint. However, Iran declared that it had now begun its battle, targeting the military base responsible for attacking its news channels. Not content with this response, Iran introduced a new missile named Fattah into service the following day. Its first target was the vicinity of Soroka Hospital, which treats soldiers wounded in the Gaza battles. Iran claimed that thanks to its intelligence capabilities, it identified an underground military base near Soroka Hospital, leading to the destruction of that base and rendering the hospital out of service due to the missile's immense power. The Israel government was forced to order people into shelters, with populations trapped in bunkers, tunnels, and metro stations. Israel's skies are now under Iranian control. Meanwhile, when prisoners in Israel celebrated the Iranian bombardment, they were subjected to attacks and mistreatment. Over the past week, the region has descended into a global crisis. Each side is preparing for a harsh response, but the direction of the conflict may be determined by the deterrence capabilities of the United States and the international community. Will the global pace escalate into a third world war, or will it become a nuclear war? These events will unfold with time. But what do you know about the strength of Israel's intelligence, which struck at the heart of Iran from within during the initial attack? Who are its spies, both Jewish and Iranian, serving the Mossad? How did some of these spies reach high-ranking positions and become prominent figures in Iran. Find out in the next episode on the Declassified Depths channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and activate the notification bell to be the first to know.